Well, it's a beautiful day, and I've been out in the Crossfire this morning. I've been around the woods in the ATV. I've been out in the 2CV, and it wouldn't start. And I came out at a shop. There's a little ongoing problem, but I'm not going to talk about it now, because I'll talk about what is really going on here. The last time, my last episode, we left it with the Avantime. Now, this is another day, and Andy's turned up. He's starting to take out all the dash again, because we've got to reseat this heating matrix. I've also been out on the scooter this morning for a little ride. So, the only way to find out if there's two discs in here is to open it up, eh?
Yeah, well there is I thought that was, but I think that the date on there is when it was new. They did say about the seal on there, if the seal's damaged. The warranty's void. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but no.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's 13/6/2018.
So it should be alright, because I think it's been a refurbished one from what
It is,
yeah,
isn't it?
so it should be working. That's why I'm wondering if there was two discs in there. See, because it said that, the screen said that insert a disc. And then when I tried to eject it, so I was wondering if you can take it apart, take the cover off, you'd find out if there's two discs.
Yeah, so you won't get no warranty.
Eh?
You can't send it back if...
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Once that's cut,
Oh, I'm not going to send it back. Not
No.
at that price.
No.
What's the point?
No, if that had been 180 quid, that might have been...
No, yeah, at 50, 45 pound or whatever it was, there's not point worrying about it, is there? So, that explains that. Well, it didn't take Andy long to get that lot out. Disc is the right way up, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
See, difficult to see, isn't it, really? Thing is to get the disc out, isn't it, really?
Mm.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? When I first tried to push it in, there seemed to be some resistance that wasn't normal. So I pushed it a bit harder, and then it grabbed it. And I'm wondering if there was a disc in it, and I shoved it, I forced it to go in above the other one. I didn't expect there to be a disc in there.
Normally discs have been for years now, where you just give it a little touch. And
Yeah, that's right. It didn't go like that at all.
No.
But the thing is, I didn't expect there to be a disc in there, you see. I didn't even think about it till afterwards, and I thought, oh God.
Well, no, you wouldn't expect a disc,
No.
would you?
And it came from a guy who refurbished it, so it was working then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Odd, isn't it? Do you want me to hold the other side in? And
If you just hold that corner, because what I was going to do is
push
put a little
it.
bit, just give it a little...
Pressure, yeah. No, it's not buzzing, is it?
No.
Still got the power in, have you?
Yeah, I did a
Yeah.
minute ago, didn't it?
Oh, something happened there. Ah, it went back there. It went back. Pushed itself back. Did you see that?
Yeah. I thought if there was two in there, you'd now see it, but...
Well, it's pushing it back as if... Unless it goes back in it when it rejects. Ejects. Just seems like the ejection isn't working, isn't it? See, it opens up. What happens if you take the front off?
Yeah, don't know.
You ever take one of these apart before?
No. This is one for YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, well, I decided to have a little break from the Avantime because the plot even got a bit more involved, and I think I need a break from it without even explaining what I've discovered. It's not a total disaster. In fact, it may mean now that it's more straightforward to fix the Avantime, but I haven't got the heart to talk about it anymore for a bit, for another day or two. So tomorrow there's a little car show locally, so I'm thinking I'll take the Dodge. So I'm going to just get it out now and have a look at it, and if it's okay. Right, see if we can start it. Ah, at least it started. Right, now it's covered in dust, so it means it's going to have to be cleaned in the morning, but I've just been cutting grass, so I'm too tired to wash cars tonight, so I'll just get it out, see what state it's in. Got to get that Jag out soon again and have another drive of it. There's the Avantime. Oh no, I'm going to forget about that for 24 hours. Right, have a look at it. You know, I shouldn't say what cars are doing well, but the Crossfire is not giving me any grief at the moment. The Volvo seems to be working okay. The Mercedes behind it is okay. The Amy's okay. The 2CV's got that little problem with the now and again it won't start, and I don't know, I think I might put a new coil in it and see if that helps. clutching at straws really, but at least it's one of the options that could be wrong with it. So it's not an expensive fix, so I think I'll just do that. Anyway, let's have a look at the Dodge. Let it run for a second. So we've got a leak on the differential, but I think it'll be alright for tomorrow for where I'm going. I'm going about 10 miles. Yeah. Clean that up in the morning, I think it'll be alright. Dust, I mean I cleaned that actually not long ago. About 2 weeks ago. Covered in dust now. Well, it's early on a Sunday morning here, and I decided to clean the Dodge and take it to a little car show. Kind of reticent to talk about the next thing, but it's to do with the Avantime. Well, Andy and I spent a couple of hours yesterday evening here, delving into this problem of the Avantime. I've had a lot of comments on, a number of comments actually on my video, and it appears that the problems that I'm having are sort of not untypical, they are possibly typical of this car. Whether that's encouraging, well, it is encouraging a little bit, I guess. But the issue that we discovered last night was a little bit annoying, and I'm not too happy about talking about it really, and I'll explain why. There's two screws down here. I don't know if I can. There's one here, and there's one below it, and these screws have got hexagon tops to them, and they're the two screws, this one here and this one here, that push down a plate with an O-ring on it, which clamp together the two parts of the heater matrix. The fact that the new heater matrix comes in two parts. Now, the issue is obviously that seal, which is caused by that plate being screwed down, has to be even and firm, and it seals the two sections of the heater matrix. Now, the first time we did it, it leaked a bit, and somebody took it apart, and we put it back together again, and then it burst. Now, what we discovered, well, let's go back a bit. When Andy was putting it together, there's two hexagon screws, and he was having trouble getting it seating evenly. So what he did was he took a longer screw, this one, which has got a Phillips head, and it's got a kind of rather short base on it, bed that beds down, but he didn't use it as a screw to hold it down. What he did was use it as a screw to locate it. So he was having trouble getting the bottom one in, so he put this long screw in as a temporary measure to get the top level at a certain point. Then he put the bottom one in, and when he got the bottom one in at the same level, and it was holding, then he took this screw out and he put the hexagon one in, and then gently tightened them both evenly to get it sealed. Now, what we found last night was that this screw, which is longer, quite a bit longer actually than the original screw, was at the top. So, because it was longer actually, well, there are two combinations with this. A, it was longer, which was the vital point, and it fouled something inside the matrix. So though it was tight, it actually wasn't really bedding down the plate, apart from the fact that the base of it here is so narrow that the amount of area that it clamps down in is smaller than the hexagon one. And it seems that the fact then that this is bedded down unevenly was why it burst. So what we did last night, Andy and I, we took the Phillips one out, which is incorrect. And I'm not mentioning who put it in, but we couldn't find the original hexagon one, so we looked around under the carpet here and everywhere, but we couldn't find it. So we did find another one amongst a selection of screws and nuts and bolts that Andy had, and we found another hexagon one which was virtually identical, and we used that. Now, we tried the engine last night, and actually it wasn't gushing out, but it was weeping a bit. So I suspect now that the O-ring probably needs replacing yet again. So what we've got to do tomorrow is to take this apart again, we'll bleed it a bit, take it out again, put a new O-ring in, rebed it for the third time or fourth time, whatever, and then bleed it properly, because the other thing we discovered, that it wasn't bled properly. There is a bleed screw in the engine bay which wasn't used, and that was why we thought there could have been a problem. But we need to use that. So it's a question of doing it yet again with the knowledge that we've now got, which hopefully will be correct. But today I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go to a car show and just forget about this car for a day and get back to it tomorrow. Right. Well, I've cleaned it up and it looks a lot better. And as most of my cars do, they get covered in this dust that's coming off the fields, but also off the building site here. And they look terrible, but when they're cleaned up, they look pretty good. So, they're shiny and in good condition looking. So, I left it out last night. Let's see if it's... hopefully it will start, and we can take it to the show in a few hours. No choke at the moment. Right, that's running nice. Now I think I'll just let it run for a bit. Let it warm up. Well, I'm just getting ready to go out, and just by chance I find I've got 6 of my cars sort of parked together. 3 of them here. That's the Citroen, the 2 Citroens, the 2CV and the Amy and the Dodge. And interestingly, here you can see the 2CV and the Dodge are the same colour. And this colour is a Mini, the new Mini colour. It's electric blue. And in fact, the guy that did this Citroen, he nicknamed this car Electra. So it's electric blue, and that car, which was originally the Dodge, which was originally brown when I bought it, with the original brown colour that I painted that colour. I like the colour so much. In fact, at one time when I had 13 American cars here, I was going to paint them all the same colour. That was sort of my little fantasy, I guess. But I was seriously going to do it. I was going to have them all repainted and have them all done this same blue. I still get tempted about that, because I just think the colour looks good on curves. Tends to, the reflection of it just makes the curves shapes look really nice. But anyway, I haven't. Mind you, this Crossfire would look nice in that blue. It wouldn't be original, obviously, but it looked nice in that blue, I think. Yeah, I think it would look really good. So would the Volvo. Yeah, and the Mercedes. Can you imagine that Mercedes in that blue? You see, I can, and I just think to me, it would look fantastic. Imagine having all these cars the same colour. Yeah. Don't know about my Jag and the Avantime. Anyway, it's time for the Dodge to go to a show in a minute, so we'll do that. Right, well, we made it to the show. All the cars are starting to come in. Andy's light.
Yeah, I think that's why they put all these
Oh, I
cars
see.
here
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
to make a bit of a show
Yeah,
of it,
right,
because
yeah.
otherwise they've got
Yeah.
nothing to show.
So it's a nice afternoon here, and we tell we got a bit of entertainment, local entertainment. My dog will enjoy this. Okay,
Yeah, nice to have a chat.
we got all the rubbish? Yeah, okay. Well, I really hope I see your husband next week.
Yep.
And if you
Have a look in person.
tell him to come my way, because he has to put my car back together again.
Okay. See what I can do.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, see ya. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye. See you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Right, well, this is an ongoing saga, and I get more upset about it, but I'll try and stay calm. Nice car. Well, it's 25 to 8 in the evening here, a beautiful evening, and I'm going to have a rest from the Avantime. I took my Vespa scooter in for an MOT today, and it failed on, well, two things really. Now the other day I was out for a ride in it and I didn't take much notice, but I went over a pothole and I wrecked this. I didn't notice it and I hadn't noticed it, but it failed the MOT. So of course they pointed it out to me. I'd split the white wall here, and of course they failed it for that reason. Though in fact the white wall's nothing to do with the tyre, and could stick it back on, but they failed it. Okay, but the main reason that it failed actually was, for some reason, the horn wasn't working. I mean, it had been, but it wasn't working at the time it took the MOT. And also, which I hadn't realised, the lights have got 3 positions. In the first position here, it should be the side lights, and then in this position, it should be the main lights. But what happens is, the main lights and the side lights are on at the same time. When you put it into the position for the side lights, everything goes out, and that applies to the tail lights as well. So there's something wired wrong. Now anyway, Andy, let's just push it up, because Andy's going to come round, and he's on his way home, and he's just going to pop in and have a look and see what really where the problem might be and what he's got to do for it. Now, a lot of people tell me that, oh, I'm not going to buy a Citroen, or I'm not going to buy a Renault, or I'm not going to buy whatever, or an Avantime, maybe I say that, because these cars have lots of problems. But I'm going to tell you, all cars have problems. All vehicles. Look at this Vespa. Brand new, really. Well, it's a 1960 model, but it's basically brand new. It's been rebuilt. Fails its MOT. I've had that van there for, well, since it was new, so it's what is it, 16 years old or something. We've had very little problem with it, to be honest. We've got problems, the same problem that keeps reoccurring, which is like the electric window winders, motors keep packing up. The gearbox synchromeasure's gone on second. That's a common fault with them. But other than that, and a few bits of rust. Other than that, it's been a very, very reliable vehicle. So when people say, Renaults are no good, well, maybe they just had a bad one. I don't know. But lots of cars, well, all cars. Rolls-Royce, rust away. Lots of problems with them. The Volvos, look at the problems I got with my XC90. Mercedes, I had that Mercedes and I had a lot of problems with that. I've had problems with every single car I've had. So I would not say that one car is worse than another. Some individual car you buy may be worse, and some individual car may be good. So I don't believe, and I don't listen to people who tell me that, one particular mark of car is worse than another. There are some stupid designs that you think, why did they design it like that? And anyway, we'll see what Andy says when he has a look at the scooter. Hang on, I'll just press it.
Has this got its own battery then?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I didn't know if it because some
Yeah, this one
like
has.
mopeds and that,
Yeah,
they
no, they
just run
don't.
off the
Yeah, it's got a battery.
flywheel, don't they?
Look, I'll tell you what it is. It's simple, right? You got the lights there, right? You got 3 positions. See the side light? You got a side light and a main beam. Yeah. You got 3 positions. The first position should put the side lights on, front and back.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't do anything.
No.
Dead. Put it into the main beam position, the main light, and they both come on. And it's the same at the back. See, when you put it into this position, you should have lights there. Well, you should have a tail light as a side, as a parking light.
You don't you don't turn the key backwards, do you?
No. That's only the lock. It only locks it. No. Only
You sure?
locks it. Yeah.
Oh, right. Some vehicles do.
Yeah. Well, no, you got these positions here. You see, look.
Yeah, I know, but some vehicles you do it on the key, so you can put the
Yeah,
side
no, I
lights on and
understand.
leave it standing.
Yeah. Well, you're right, but there is only 2 positions, on and off. Yeah.
Okay.
This key only does the
Steering lock.
lock,
Oh, okay.
and that's all. And this key just turns the ignition on and off. There's one at that end and one
What
that.
we might have to do is take the headlight out first.
Yeah.
See if you can get to the wiring in there.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
It might be wired wrong in there. How does that come off?
Yeah.
Phillips.
I was wondering how it could be wired though wrong, because when you put power on, they both. I don't know. Oh, good. I'm glad you agreed with me on that one. Because when you put power on, there's obviously power going to both those places.
Yeah.
So could you? How could you couldn't really alter it? Could you? I suppose could you bypass it somehow?
Well,
I don't know. Because the switch is here and it's sealed, isn't it?
yeah, but it might be the wires might come to here,
Yeah.
and there might be 3 wires, and someone's put them in the wrong combination.
All right. Yeah.
It's possible.
Oh, yeah. It shows you why I'm not an electrician.
That came off easy, didn't it?
So why isn't the horn working? Another problem.
Is there a little screw? I think there's a little screw in the middle there, isn't there?
Do you want the ignition on?
Yeah.
Just turn that key. Yeah, that's on. Oh. Something's alive.
See, that's the side light position. There. Put the side lights on. It goes to there. Then when you go to headlights, and that will become live.
Well, hang on. Yeah, but it didn't work,
Yeah,
did it?
no. But there's no wire in it.
Oh.
There's no wire in that side light
So that's
position.
why it didn't work.
That's
yeah.
where your side light wire should be.
Yeah.
So one of these. So what is? So that powers up to there. Then that's your main beam, dip beam. Right.
So they haven't wired them up.
So if we take them. These are your front side light and tail light, I reckon. Put them in there.
Right. Yeah, you got tail light now.
Tail light?
Yeah, you got tail light now.
And that's tail and head.
That's is that headlight?
Side light and head.
Hang on.
Isn't it?
Well, it flicked for a second. That's headlight now, both. That's both.
Main beam, dip beam.
Yeah, main beam.
But that's both.
Yeah, but you got
And that's just tail.
That's just
and that's off.
Yeah.
Right. How old's the scooter?
Well, the scooter's a 1960, but it was Italian, but it was rebuilt, so it's basically a new scooter, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all the components you can see, everything's new on it.
I've been main beam.
Right, do it once more time. Put dog into this. Right, so we got off. Yep, on, main, dipped. Fantastic. Couldn't be better.
Right, now we've got to get the horn.
Yeah. Funny how they all. Now the horn used to work. Yeah, yeah. I can't believe it. You know, when he said to me the horn wasn't working. All the list of things that were wrong with it. And of course that pothole. I remember hitting that pothole too. Probably that white wall saved the tyre from being wrecked. You just push the button.
What is that button?
The one at the side's a cutout.
Ah, that's the horn.
Sorry, the horn's. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, the one at the side is a cutout. Shuts the engine off.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
right,
It's the one in the
right,
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so it's there. This is working through an earth, I reckon. They are loose, them little things, but they're still touching them. So what make is this?
Vespa. It's a Vespa.
No, that's all right. We've got power there.
Yeah.
That's a horn, is it?
Well, all right. At least it passes the MOT.
That sounds like a dry washer pump.
Yeah. Sounded like me when they told me it had failed its MOT. When you push the horn button, you could feel a click.
It is loose.
You could feel a click, so as if the switch was all right.
Yeah.
I think it's to do with riding it. So what's that? The contact you're doing? Oh, it earths itself on. Oh, I see.
Just tighten them up a little bit.
But the wiring was wired wrong then, was it, in the beginning?
For the lights, yeah.
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 That's better. Nicer sound now. Was that the button you pushed, or just you?
No,
You just
I just crossed over.
Yeah. Is that the button?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's working.
Yeah.
Oh. Right. Well, it's 9 o'clock at night, and he's just finished. So the lights are working. Off. Side lights. Main lights. Main dipped. And we got side lights, and we got side lights at the back. And right, so the lights were incorrectly wired. They weren't wired correctly, so that solved that problem. The horn seems to be a problem with the horn. Hang on, just turn the lights on. But now it's working at the moment, so I'm gonna. It seems to be when it bangs around a bit it stops, but it is working at the moment. Right, well that's it. So it's back to the Avantime. Right, well it's early, and we started cutting out some parts here for where we're going to put in the footings in the front of the building. Yeah, that's noisy. Anyway, have a look at the cars. Well, got lots of troublemakers out here. No, that's not true. Some of them are doing okay. It's the Avantime that's the problem. Right. Well, the Avantime's got numbers of problems, I think, and I just can't get them solved. But let's have a look what we got here. That's the no. Right. I've got that's the original disk drive that was in the car when I bought it, and it stopped working. Whether it's because it got water in it, I don't know. This was the second one I bought, or the first one I bought, and that made the screen work, but the disk drive doesn't work in it. And I've just received this one now, so that is another one that I've bought. So I'm going to leave that there. That is a new one, which I'll open later, but it should be a new old stock, so hopefully that will be third time lucky with the sat-nav disk drive. But as for the rest of the problem, we've still got the leak coming out of that join there. So what I did was I bought another matrix, because my feeling is that, and I don't know for certain obviously, but my feeling is that where these two parts are in their plastic with an O-ring are joined together, I think that they possibly have been put together, taken apart, put together so many times, and they're leaking that it's probably impossible. Maybe it just happened to be a faulty one, and maybe there was something wrong with the moulding. But anyway, I've bought another one which I'm picking up today. So I think where we're at now is to decide how we're going to tackle it, but it's to fit the new matrix again, knowing what we know now, which is a bit more than we did before, and then hopefully, because if we thought we had the leak fixed, because once the leak is fixed and that new sat-nav, hopefully all of this can be sorted. This is such an ongoing job. Oh dear, drives you mad, doesn't it? Well, the 2CV is running a lot better since Alexander came up and reclamped all the exhaust manifolds. It's actually lovely. The weather's beautiful at the moment, so I'm gonna actually use that. Take the top down a bit and use this car. It's the summer car really, so hopefully that's going to go all right. Everything seems to rattle loose on it, but other than that, seems to be running well. Well, as for the Vespa, Andy was here till 9 o'clock last night, and right, the lights are all working now. So I've got 3 positions: off, side lights, and main, which is what you should have. So that's working well. The horn, yep, it's still working. Possibly we cured it. We thought we had and it didn't, but now it seems to be working. I think it seems to be that it was either a connection down there in the horn, or possibly the diaphragm in the horn had popped the wrong way or something. It seems to be much louder now and better. Now I'm wondering whether that happened when I went over a pothole, because the other problem I had with the bike, which was this bit here, that obviously happened when I went down the pothole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that back today, and then I'm going to see if I can get this bike retested, because the lights are okay now. The horn seems to be working, and they didn't actually mention that. I don't think that was actually a failure on the MOT, because I don't think it comes into it really, but anyway, I'll stick it back. But I did buy another tyre. I went and ordered another tyre. They're not that much money, and I thought, well, the trouble is with these things, you go over a pothole or something, you wreck a tyre. I've got a spare tyre, but it hasn't got the white walls on it, so I've ordered one, and I'll keep it as a spare at the moment. And that is that. Hopefully that bike will all be settled, and then we can worry about we'll worry about the Avantime. Oh, and I've got the Dodge going in to have the differential having a look at, because it's got a leak on it. I really would like the brakes to be checked as well, to make sure that it's all okay. 'Cause I'm hoping to take this to Cromer in a few weeks. Okay, that's the plan for today. Looks a lovely day. Right, well, as I was out here, I thought I would just see how you turn this car into a open top. Well, so get these flaps out of the way, undo these, now just fold this back, and then actually I'll change hands. Doing this with one hand, whoops, it's not easy, and filming. So that clips onto there. Sorry about the filming, but it was a bit difficult with one hand. It's not very neat, is it? I haven't really done that neatly, but anyway, that flips back there, holds that. These just seem to sit here now. Nothing much you can do with those. They just sit there. Put this back, and then we've got a sunroof. Obviously you can roll the thing back, but it's much better like this. It's easier like this. You get a bit of shade in the back, and you got this open sunroof effect. It's quite good really. That's what they were for, I guess. Okay, so this is my car of choice today, I think. I'm really happy with the steering wheel on this thing, because this steering wheel is off of that old Diane over there. It's slightly bigger in diameter than the original, which makes it slightly easier to turn. Not that these are difficult, these cars, it makes it slightly easier to maneuver it. And it's blue, which matches the car. And also it's a nicer finish. It's a solid, really solid plastic or bakelite. I don't know what it is. Would it be, because that's quite, it must be plastic, just plastic, but it's a much more solid. The one that was in here, the standard steering wheel, which I kept, is kind of a much cheaper, rougher, lighter plastic, and this is solid, really solid, and it's really, and it looks retro. Looks more retro, I think, than the other one. So I'm really pleased with this. But it's like a massive wheel. I mean, it's like the only thing is a bit big up here. You tend to knock your hands against this vent here if you're not careful. Okay, that's the 2CV. Right, well, the plot thickens, as they say. The scooter, I've just come back from the MOT and it's perfect. Got it MOT. Everything's fine. Lights are working. Tail lights working as they should have been. The horn works. I'll just show you. Let's have a look. Where are we? Somewhere here. Yep, we got a horn right. That's good. Okay, horn works. Everything's fine. And I've glued this back on, so that's okay. Anyway, I thought what I might do is actually speak to the garage there while I was there, because they do lots of old cars, and ask them whether they'd be interested in fixing this thing. Because if I delivered it to them with the dash out and a new part, could they fix it? And I spoke to the mechanic and he said, oh yeah, and he was telling me all the various other things. He sounded, obviously knew what he was doing. And he said to me, have a word with the boss, because you've got to book it in. So I said to the guy, do you want to do my car? Can I book it in, please? Didn't ask me what car or anything. He just said, well, I can't do anything at the moment. I said, well, could you do it whenever you got a chance? He said, no, not interested. Bye-bye. Literally, that was it. Walked away. So, this is a different garage. They weren't interested, so there's no point asking them anymore, is there? Well, I'll see if Anglian want to do it. Well, we're all busy here today with concrete pouring. Lots of footings being filled with concrete. Here's another batch now. I'll just fill these holes while you're at it as well. Right, so back with the Avantime. Okay, what have we done? We've got we've got two new things. That's the new disk drive for the sat nav. That is another matrix. These are the old ones. And we've now got this super duper high temp black mastic gunk.
Could have had it in red as well, but I chose black.
Red would have gone with the car, yeah.
The new adjustable can, so you can get the outlet speed at different.
Right, so we should be able to, that should be able to be in there neat.
Yeah.
So,
Got two new O-rings ready. I believe what you said was right about a certain torque we should have to tighten, because both of them are split this time. Both through the middle again.
yeah, it's because they're too tight. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that one is no good now. You'd never be able to use that one again.
But what I have changed this time
Right.
is the size of the rubber O-ring. It makes sense in my mind that the red ones are in there, they were squashed, leaked, we took them back out. And we've been replacing it with one the same size as the squashed gasket, which has made it a bit wider. So I've just kind of thought about it in my mind and thought, if I went the next size down, that may have been original size of the red gasket before it was squashed.
But what I think we've got now is a unit that is not possible to seal unless we use that sealant.
Yeah, so I'm going to
So
do both.
we're not going to lose anything by trying it.
No. So I'm going
But-
to try the new O-rings and the sealant altogether.
So we're going to seal back up the old one with mastic and see if that holds. If not, we take the old one out, put the new one back in.
I didn't unpackage the last one, so it'll be good to see. This is just our invoice. That's the next size down. It has identical inner circle,
Yep.
obviously slightly
Yep. Yep.
narrower.
Yep.
I'm thinking that may be fatter because it's been squashed.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
And we've been matching it. to
Yeah,
the
well,
whole
that makes
thing.
sense. Okay. So when it's dry, you'll do that. How long does that take to go out to cure?
It doesn't say.
Just be careful where you get it. You don't get it on the car or anything, eh? Or on the carpet or anything like that, yeah?
Yep.
Right, okay.
The new power can.
Right.
So this is, I believe this is the slowest one.
Comes out very,
We switch it up a bit, then it goes to the,
no, you don't want that. No, no,
so
don't.
the slowest one.
Yeah, you want the slowest one, yeah, definitely.
That's perfect. And I'll leave that there. We'll have some lunch
Yeah,
and see what it's like when we get back.
okay. Right, so this is just a recap of a recap, really. After about 4 attempts, and we couldn't get that matrix to seal up properly, I bought another one because I figured that I probably buggered that one up anyway now. It's never going to seal because there's a number of issues and things that we probably did wrong with it. So I bought another one, but before we take that one out and replace the other one, we thought we would leave it in situ and try sealing it up a different way. That was using a different size O-ring and using a mastic as a sealant as well, and then tightening it up, but not too tight, and see what happens. We've got nothing to lose really, because we're going to take that matrix out anyway, and if it does work, then obviously we keep the new one and use it in the future, either for that one if it goes again, or the one that's underneath the steering wheel, because there's 2 in this car. So that's the plan. At the moment what we're doing is we've drained the fluid out, or as much fluid as we need, and we're letting the whole area dry out. With the heat that it is here today, it won't take too long, I guess. So then we will put the mastic in and put it all back together again, let it cure before we actually start filling it up again and test it. That's the plan. This is, I think, plan 7. Whether it'll work, I don't know. We'll get a shock one day probably and find that something works. Boy, it's hot in here. Okay, how many times have I sat in this car in the last week or so and talked about this little problem? Anyway, this is the latest update, and possibly the last tragic update, I hope. We've tried so many things here and we cannot get this to seal. This connection, it leaks. We've spoken to Renault because I worked on the basis that this system is exactly the same as what is in the Espace, so it's not something specific to the Avantime. And the older Espace, there's been a lot of these cars on the road, and Renault must have done this job a lot of times. And sure enough, they confirmed a lot of the things that we thought. They also confirmed that actually what we had been doing was not wrong, that we've done nothing wrong. The possibility is, and somebody has already mentioned this on my channel, that there may be more pressure in the system than there should be due to there's possibly another problem with the car. But we haven't got the equipment to test this. So I decided that what I might do is ask Renault then if they would take the car in, which they said they would. Now in the meantime, I went to this garage where I had my Vespa MOT'd, and I asked them, because they deal with old cars, and I asked them if they, I know this is an old car, and I asked them if they would do this for me, and they said they didn't want to know. The son, who really runs the business, phoned me up and said, oh, we really would like to do the car. So, what I've arranged is that this garage then, this little country garage, is going to come and collect the Avantime next Monday, and they're going to have to take it. They can't drive it, obviously, so they'll take it to the garage and they'll get this fixed, because I've got all the new matrix, and then we can put it back together, hopefully, and try the new disk drive and get the sat nav working, and then everything's going to be honky. Does that sound a good plan? I hope it is. That is the last thing I'm going to say on this Avantime until it goes to this garage and we find out what happens. Right, well, we're here in the Crossfire, and oh,
he was an alien all along. He's an alien all along.
that's the radio. The Crossfire is going in to the garage this morning to have the paint done on the spoiler at the back that lifts up, that's bubbling away, and also a little bit of work on the wheel arch. There's some surface rust on one of the wheel arches, so that's going to be done, and this car, hopefully then, this Crossfire will be I say perfect, you know, as perfect as a second-hand car can be, perhaps. And that's the body shop where Billy works. But sadly, the owner doesn't like, or doesn't want me filming in his shop, because he's worried about the owner's cars that are there being seen on YouTube, I guess, which is fair enough. It's his business. So I won't film inside there, but I'll probably film as I turn up. And on Monday as well, this couple of days' time, I've also got the Dodge going in, because I've got the leak in the differential, and I've got a garage having a look at that, and having a check on all the brake pipes. And of course it needs to be up on a ramp to do all that, so I can't really get that done properly myself. So there's 3 cars going into professional garages. We'll see what happens. So those are the bubbles, and when the heat gets on them, they rise up. There's moisture inside, I guess. See, now that they're going to be repaired, I've got the urge to break it away and see what's in it. So, see which amount of paint is lifting, but I'll wait just in case they cancel the appointment. Right, so we're down here. Going to take the Crossfire in, and so I won't be able to film where Billy is, obviously.
Like a bird on a tree.
Gotta respect what I've been told, and that is not to film.
I'm just sitting
Pity.
here.
Got some good cars in there.
I got time.
Right, we won't have any audio on this,
It's clear to see.
and I'll draw stills off it.
From
If there's too much wind, it'll come out badly.
The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.
Whew. It's hot in here. Well, life's funny, eh? Sometimes all things seem to go well. And then, oh Christ, other times everything seems to go bad. But there's another side to it. Sometimes some things go right and some things go bad. So, I've just got my Dodge back from the garage. Anglian Vehicle Services. Sounds like I did a sterling job on it. They fixed the leak in the differential, put a new oil seal in. They checked the braking system and tightened the brakes a bit and said that there's nothing wrong with them, so that's good. I've been driving the car around a bit today, and frankly it's going, oh God, I say this, it's going lovely. Where they greased the suspension, it's really nice because there's no sound from the suspension at all. The engine sounds really smooth, and of course the tires, being the new radials, they make the handling that much better. But I had a bit of a shock when I picked it up from Anglian. I drove down the road and I thought, God, this sounds rough today. And in fact, at one point I thought it was going to stall. And then I realized that they'd pulled the choke out here to start it, obviously, and they hadn't put it back. Now, I always push this choke right back as soon as I start it, because it doesn't run. Once it fires up and runs, it needs the choke pushed right back. So anyway, the choke was out, and I've been driving for about a mile, and I was wondering why the car seemed so rough. Anyway, once I got it back in, that was fine. So I've still got two cars at a garage now. One is the Crossfire, where the airfoil's being repainted, and the other is the Avantime, which is over at a garage to have this heating matrix. Now, they've had that. This is the third day they've had it. I haven't heard from them. That's, in my cynical feelings, that doesn't bode well. I'd have thought they would have done that job in a couple of hours, because they don't have to dismantle the dash and they don't have to put it back. All they've got to do is just fit the new matrix, but I don't know. So I haven't heard from either of those two yet. But as far as the building job's concerned, that's the bit that isn't going well. The builder went bust, and frankly now I've had to get rid of him, because there was a lot of work that he'd done, quite a lot of it actually, which was not done well. So not only are we less a builder, we've got to take down some of the work that he did, brickwork, and redo it. Ah, here comes a car. Ah, it's my wife arriving in the black Volvo. Going well. Ah, I'll have a word with her. So I'm missing some cars, but I've got plenty of plant here. We've got, actually, Tom's just out on a 3-ton dumper at the moment. Got a digger and a dumper there. We've got another digger there, another digger there. Oh, and another dumper. So we've got about three dumpers, 3 diggers here at the moment. Oh, and a floor cutter. So we've cut this, and this trench looks like it's done now. And it'll be coming around here, and going all the way up this side of the building. So I don't know what the bigger problem is, actually, looking after my cars or trying to get this development done. Footings done, all these footings that were done here, they were poured. And now all the internal walls here can go up, and then think about getting the roof built. But sadly, the problem that I had with this builder who went bust was that the top 6 courses on that wall, both sides, is party wall, has got to come down, be rebuilt. Right, so this is a sort of relief from the stress of the building, actually. A little ongoing problem here was that the original horn that was on here was working okay in the end, but I went and bought this new horn. Now this is a replacement for the one I just bought because the first one didn't work, but the second one doesn't work, so I guess it's not to do with the horn. And this is what happens. If I turn the ignition on, and all we get is this. So I don't understand. I've spoken to Andy. He's going to come over and have a look at it, and he doesn't really understand it either. I mean, he got the first one working because all it is a horn that you connect up. I don't really get it. There doesn't seem to be anything else that doesn't move. I don't understand that at all. It's a Vespa horn, at least that's what it's sold as. I've had 2 of them. Nothing happens. I've tried it with the engine running, tried it with it screwed back. It's a pity really, because that's a nicer horn than the one that was on it. See, there's the one that was on it. This one works, but I didn't like the pattern on it. This is more the original design. This here looks like a cheaper horn, but at least it works. Well, the Dodge looks good, and it's going well. It seems to be quiet when it drives, and it seems to be rattle free. I'm really pleased about that. Looks a nice car, doesn't it? I mean, that looks... It's amazing. That's 72 years old, is it? Or 71 years old? Amazing car. Amazing. And that paintwork, you know, has really stood the test of time even, because it was done back about 2005, 2006 at the most, I guess. So that's 12 years ago or something. So it raises another issue here. I had a peculiar thing with this Mercedes the other day. I'm going to try it now. Start it up. Right, well I'll point it this way because, actually I'll turn it off. That noise will cause, the wind will cause buffeting on this camera. The funny thing is, I had it running for about an hour. I was out in it, and the air conditioning works really good. And then I started it up yesterday, and the air conditioning didn't come on. It was just blowing out heated air, and it wasn't working at all. So I turned it off eventually and started it up again, and the aircon was on, so I don't know what that was all about. But the issue I've got is that I'm going to France in a couple of weeks. Well, actually about 5 weeks, and I can't make up my mind what car to take, because I think I'll probably take the Avantime, but they haven't fixed that yet. And I've got to book the tunnel. I don't want to take the Jag because I might get it messed up with stuff and putting stuff in it. The car I should take is the Volvo, the black one here, but because I've had these problems with it, I'm frightened doing a 1,200 mile journey and something could happen. So I may end up taking the Mercedes. I've been to France in it a couple of times, The problem is its fuel consumption on this car is pretty poor. Get about 20-21 to the gallon on a run. But at least you're driving on the right side of the vehicle when you're in France. So I think it's either this car going to France or the Avantime, if I'm confident that the garage is fixing it. But as they've had it now for 3 days and I haven't heard from them, I'm a little concerned, perhaps. Right, so as I was sitting here, the phone just rang, and Andy has called to say he's coming round to have a look at my scooter. And maybe he will give me some professional opinions on what I should do with it, or why the horn isn't working. So I think we'll go around and see him in a second. He'll be here in a minute, and we'll find out what we can see. Right, so we'll try the horn on a battery. What are you going to do? Try it on a power pack or something? I mean, I was thinking, well, if one was 6 volt and one was 12, but my scooter's 12, isn't it?
Yeah, but no,
Because you said it was 12.
You laughed when I said it's a horn. But there's nothing wrong with your scooter.
Well, I don't think so, is there?
No. See? It's the horn, isn't it? The horn is no good.
So I would have thought. That's the second one. I did try him the other way round.
Did you?
Yeah. I tried it with the engine running in case there wasn't enough power.
Why don't you ring the bloke up and we'll let him hear it down the phone.
Alright, I've got to find his number. Right, so Andy's been and gone, and we got to the bottom of the horn, and it's kind of almost embarrassing really, because we all probably should have thought about it, but that includes the company that sold me the horn. This scooter has got a battery, so the horn that's required would run off a DC current. This horn is for the Vespa, but it's for a Vespa that runs off it's a horn that runs off a Vespa that has no battery. So this runs off AC current, which is what the motor produces, the engine produces. So the horn would actually only work while the engine's running. So this horn does not run off a battery, it runs off AC current, which the engine creates when it's running. So this horn is no good for this bike. So they are going to send me a horn that runs off a DC current and will run off the battery whether the engine's running or not. And it's so obvious when you when you know what the problem is. So we'll see what happens when I get it. That'll be interesting. So 1000 cc.
Well, 950,
Yeah.
engine. Talbot, pre-First World War, made big cars. Supermaker, one of the top British makers after Rolls-Royce. Talbot was one of the makers, really.
Yeah.
Post-First World War, the demand goes out of the window for big, expensive cars. You know, the country's on its uppers, basically. Rolls keeps going, but the other makers. So this is a Darracq design. Talbot joined up with the French company Darracq. And this is the Darracq designer who designed a Grand Prix car at the same time. So they decided to go into making this small car. So it's this quality small car, basically.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, but it sold quite well, and it kept the company going, really, through the 20s. It then gets a bit bigger. It's got no differential, but like a Fraser Nash. The later model, the 10 horsepower.
So, no different. So how does that work then?
Well, can't go around corners very
Very
fast.
well. So it's hopping a bit if you go around a tight corner.
You have to be careful. You go around too fast with all sorts of exciting things. Otherwise, it's fine, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a very nice little motor car actually.
And it's side valve, is it?
No, it's an overhead
Oh,
car.
it's an overhead. You did say,
It's
yeah.
almost
Sorry.
identical, the engine, to the BMC A series engine, the thing that went to the
Yeah,
Minister.
yeah. In a minute. Yeah, Austin 7.
Most of the components are almost interchangeable.
Really?
Yeah. The
Ah.
valve rocker system. The expert on Talbots, Ian Paulson, says you could almost interchange the parts. Actually.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like a luxury Austin 7.
Yes.
I mean, obviously it's bigger.
It's
and
much
it's
more
much
potent.
more solid.
It was sold to do 50 miles an hour and 40 miles to the gallon. It does
Well,
both actually.
That's good, isn't it?
For 1922,
Yeah.
that was pretty good for a small car.
Good consumption as well.
Yeah, it's more like a 1930s car than
Yeah,
an Edwardian
yeah.
car, really.
Oh, and you got a boot as well. Yeah. Right, well, I've picked up the Crossfire, and I'm really pleased with it. So, what did they do? They sorted out this wheel arch, which had some faint little surface bubbling around here, and there were some little marks there that looked as if, oh, it didn't look as if it had been actually sort of worked on before. So they've done the whole arch. Well, I mean, that's just like new now. The rest of the car is unmarked, so that's pretty good. And they've done the spoiler. I keep looking at the spoiler and thinking the colour's different, but actually it isn't, because it's the way the light hits it. The light hits this and this differently when you look at them. But if you move around, then you see that actually it is the same colour. Anyway, there's no bubbles now in the spoiler. And the car is basically pretty good. Pretty well unmarked everywhere. To say, the only bit of wear or mark on the car is this little edge here, which is a normal edge. So what I do now is I push that seat back every time I get in it, so that I don't rub against this every time I get in. You know, I'm really pleased with the car. It's what's as close as you can get to a brand new one, isn't it? These lights are always a problem on all these cars. I mean, I think eventually I'm going to get one of these kits or something, or rub them all down, clean this glass, get it clear again, but it's not too bad. I mean, they come up a lot worse than that. But it's a pretty good car for the age. It's 11 years old now. Yeah, pretty pleased with the Crossfire. Right, well, it's been a day, because they told me the Avantime is ready, and here it is. I've picked it up. Look at it. I'm pretty excited. I've had all my cars come back. The Dodge is back and fixed, and the Crossfire's back and fixed, and now the Avantime's back and fixed, apparently. Right, so the guy said it was a pig of a job, which I'm not surprised. He took it for a drive. He did about, I don't know, 10 miles maybe, and it was dry. He's had it running at full temperature. I drove it home, and it's still dry. Obviously there's a carpet to go in here. I left this purposely so you could see easy if there was a drip. So it seems to be holding at the moment. He did say that there was a bleed screw on the radiator, as well as the one above where the heater matrix was. So maybe, perhaps that was part of the problem. Maybe it was the problem we were having it. We didn't believe that one. The other thing he said was that they used a bit of mastic like we tried, and they let it seal, cure, which is what we did as well. But I think we probably tried that as a last resort after we'd probably buggered up the joint by trying it so many times. So anyway, it seems to be okay now, so that means that I'm probably going to... Well, Andy's coming back tomorrow over here to put all this back, and we'll see if we can get the satellite navigation working now, because that's the next thing. We've got this new disk drive, the second one I've bought, and hopefully, and that's supposed to be a new one, so hopefully we'll have the sat nav going tomorrow and all back, and then I'm going to take this car to France in a couple of weeks. So that will be a second trip to France, and we'll see if it survives that. So I'll wait for Andy.